All right, let's talk about the difference between smart. Actually, let's go in a different direction. What's the opposite of smart? This one's pretty easy. Most would say it's stupid. And this is exactly why I hate the word smart. I almost never use it if I can avoid it. Because the way people tend to think about education and learning new things, in this context, study abroad, is that you're either smart about study abroad or you're stupid about it. And people always say, well, if I'm not smart about it, I must be stupid. And so if I'm stupid, well, I'm just stupid. And there's nothing I can do about that. And I really think that's a bad way to think. Instead of using smart, I like to use the word clever. And it doesn't seem like a big difference, but what's the difference between clever? Or what's the opposite of clever? Oh, it's not exactly stupid, is it unclever? And the reason I do that is because you're going to make mistakes that you shouldn't have made, and maybe you can term them stupid, but start thinking in terms of making clever decisions and looking at problems in a way that's clever and trying to do things in that way instead of trying to be smart, which is kind of this nebulous out there idea that isn't really all that easy to define. The reason I start with this is because I want to talk about the difference between ignorance and stupidity. So, what's the difference? Most people have never thought about it. But the difference is huge, and once you figure this out, it really changes the orientation of how you start to ask questions and face problems. There's a quote that says, ignorance can be educated, but stupid is forever. And I like that a lot because whenever you start a new process, do you start out stupid or do you start out ignorant? Some would say both, but once you know the definition of ignorance, it makes more sense. Ignorance is just not knowing. And the example I like to use in this is learning to drive. There are very few people who start out on the first day who are very good at driving. It takes practice, it takes motor skill, it takes the ability to use depth perception and make quick decisions and stay within the rules of driving and flow of traffic and speed. There's a lot that goes into driving that people have never done before. It doesn't mean that they're stupid because on the first day they walk in they don't really know what they're doing. It just means they have to learn. They have to be educated. And that's the difference between stupid mistakes and ignorant mistakes, is that stupid mistakes you should have known better. Stupid refuses to learn what it should already know. And with ignorance, it's just being in the dark about something or not having faced it. So with that, I'd like to go here very quickly and show you the continuum that you want to use. On this side, we're going to do ignorance, Norance, to education. And your goal is to move. You start here the first day saying, I have no idea what I'm doing. Your goal is to move this way on whatever you're looking at. Say it's driving and it just comes with practice. It's moving to the right toward a place where you understand what you're doing, where you're proficient. This is kind of the place where you cross over from needing a lot of help and advisement and people there with you to where you make that jump on this side where you're independent, where you start to be able to think for yourself and figure things out. And you've taken all the lessons from back here when you were learning and you're coming over here. And this is really what I want to talk about within how you educate yourself on anything. We use the example of driving, and that's what you want to do. By the time you get over here, you're pretty proficient in it. You understand the process, you understand the rules, and what needs to be. And so that's what you're really striving for with anything new that you're learning, is to move from ignorance, which is not knowing, into being educated where you're able to do things for yourself.